All right, how does the market equilibrium just happen? How does this invisible hand drive the market? So we know we're driven by the curves of supply and demand and how they intersect. But what are the mechanics that the market undertakes in order to make that occur? All right, let's first look at this condition where the price was just too low. If the price were at $5, we'll see that the equilibrium is at 7. And if it's at 5, what happens is we have 6 units that are willing to be supplied at that low price. Can't blame them. And then we have a lot of demand, 12 units. Can't blame them. So what happens is we have a shortage of 6 units because of this price that's too low. So let's say that when we're at equilibrium or driving toward equilibrium, people will then push up the price. Suppliers will offer a higher price. And then people who are demanding will be willing to pay a higher price until it reaches the equilibrium of 7, in which case there's nobody that's wanting to supply something for unmet demand, and there's no demand at that price that's unmet. So we call this market equilibrium, where supply equals demand, in this case at $7. The same can occur if the price is too high. Let's say we start at $9 and we have the same dynamic except in the other direction. We have suppliers willing to supply a lot at this high price, 14, but because the price is so high, we only have 6 units of demand. So we now have 8 units of surplus where we have more supply and demand. What will happen, of course, is suppliers say, hey, well, maybe I'll sell for less than 9. So the values start creeping down. And as they do that, some people will say, well, I'm willing to pay at 8. I wasn't at 9, but I'll pay at 8. So eventually it reaches that same equilibrium of 7. So it started at 9 and it creeps down because we're trying to meet the unmet supply or demand, and will converge at the market equilibrium of 7. So that is the invisible hand. There's no man behind the curtain like Wizard of Oz making it all happen. It's just the operations of a market. Market equilibrium exercise. We'll go into Excel and try this out. And the information is provided here that the quantity demanded equals a function 10 minus 2p, and the quantity supplied is the function 2 plus 2p. And we're trying to find what is that equilibrium point. So we'll hop into Excel. All right, so on the left we have the problem as stated, and on the right we have just the factors to make it easier. So at what point does equilibrium exist? And it happens when the quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded. So we can just kind of do this in Excel. 10 minus 2p equals 2 plus 2p. And then we just combine terms. So 10 minus 2 is 8 equals, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. So now we know that p equals 8 divided by 4, which is 2. Right? So the equilibrium point here is 2 units based on this information provided. So price equals 2. Now that's the price, but we're actually asked to do the price and the quantity. So we can substitute 2 in for either side. Let's just do the first one. It's easy. 10 minus 2 times 2, and that's 6. Now this is from the demand side. If we had done the supply, it'd be the same, because if we did the math right, it would equal 2 plus 2 times 2, which is 6. All right, so we did the math correctly.